I wasn't interested in sport and things like that at school. I've always enjoyed playing with tech. It's been something from childhood onwards that I really got excited about.
My name is Michael Boxwell. I'm the CEO of Voltempo and a techno geek for the last 40 years.
I was also given a pocket calculator that didn't work when I was 10 years old, and so I learned how to repair that and get that going. So I got into electronics and so on and so forth. So really from that time onwards I got hooked. So I've worked on a huge number of projects in tech over the years. From the early 1990s onwards I started getting involved with handheld computers, and from that into sort of the mobile phone element of it. I worked for a handheld computer manufacturer called Norand. We created this industrial handheld computer with a phone and a camera built into it, and we thought it would be used by engineers. And I gave one of these computers to one of our distributors, and he picked it up and he pointed the camera at himself, smiled and took a photograph. I thought, what's he doing? He invented the selfie. So right now we're working on electric vehicle technology. So a few years ago we built a battery that would fit into an electric vehicle that could charge from flat to full in 6 minutes. So right here in Birmingham, ultimately we'll be creating about 200 jobs. In the short term, about 35. Across the industry, we think that the opportunity is enormous. The number of charging hubs which we'll have across the country is going to be starting off in the 30, 40. Ultimately, it will be in the hundreds. Each one will be manned, so there'll be 800,000 jobs created by this in the next 7 years. The biggest hurdle to overcome is getting everybody working together on something like this. You don't change the world just one person at a time. The first of all, we went to the truck manufacturers and I said to them, look, you're building trucks, electric trucks. Why aren't people buying them? I said, well, nobody's interested. So I went to the fleets and I said, well, why aren't you buying electric trucks? Well, there's nowhere to charge them up. So I went to the people who do the charging infrastructure and said, why aren't you putting in infrastructure for trucks? Well, said, well, nobody's buying the trucks. We got the government involved, we got the Department for Transport involved to highlight the issues and to identify what we needed to do. We were talking to the right people at the right time, and we were getting people excited about what we were doing. All of this takes a lot of money, and I haven't got a lot of money to spend, but you need millions of pounds to make a change like this. It was really tough to manage the business whilst you're trying to raise funding, because whilst you're trying to raise that amount of money, nobody will give you money in the meantime. So you've got to work really smart in order to keep going. And there's been some tough times. There have been times where I haven't been able to pay a salary to myself for months on end. Ultimately, it's been incredibly successful for us. We tendered for some money from the government, and we won £49.2 million. So we're now in a situation where we go from a very small business to the market leaders, and we'll do that in 2 years. I'm happier now in my working life than I probably ever have been. It's all about collaboration, consortiums, building, and seeing what you can do that can make a huge difference in industry or in culture. The work I did with the camera phone, I didn't create the social media or anything like that. And ultimately, the people who made camera phones successful, came from a different angle, and I learned from that actually, the future isn't the same as today. You need to come up with different ways of doing things, and you do that by collaborating. We're masters of our own destiny, and we're making a difference which will change an entire industry.